Chica was treated like a servant by her own mother, forced to sacrifice her dreams just to feed and support the family. She waited 5 painful years for the man she loved, only for him to return and marry her younger sister instead. Betrayed, mocked, and eventually chased out of her father's house, Chica almost gave up on life. But when a powerful billionaire CEO discovered her hidden talent as a fashion designer, her life changed forever. From sleeping in her tailoring shop to living in a luxurious mansion in Lagos, Chica's journey is filled with heartbreak, betrayal, shocking revenge, emotional family drama, and a love story nobody expected. Watch till the end to see how the rejected village girl became the woman everyone wished they had respected. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more powerful Nigerian stories like this. The early morning Harmattan breeze swept across the quiet village in Ebonyi State, while darkness still covered most compounds. Roosters crowed loudly from different directions as women began lighting firewood outside their kitchens. Inside one small mud house roofed with old zinc sheets, Chica was already awake. At just 18 years old, she had mastered the art of suffering silently. Her caramel skin glowed softly under the lantern light as she tied her hair neatly in a bun and hurried outside with 2 empty buckets. "Chica," her mother shouted from inside the room, "you are still standing there? Go fetch water before the twins wake up." "Yes, Mama," Chica answered quietly. She balanced the buckets and walked toward the stream while other girls her age were still sleeping peacefully. By the time she returned, sweating heavily, her younger twin siblings, Bobo and Kamsi, were awake. "Good morning, sister," Bobo said lazily while stretching on the mat. Kamsi yawned loudly. "A bag, hurry, and warm water for me. I know one late for school." Chica smiled faintly. "Okay." Their mother walked out, tying wrapper around her chest. "Chica, iron their uniforms well, last time the shirt no straight." "Mama, I tried." You dey talk back now?" Chica quickly lowered her head. "No, Mama." Papa Emeka sat quietly at one corner, drinking tea before going to his farm. He watched everything silently with tired eyes. Unlike his wife, he loved all his children equally. "Woman," he said softly, "allow the girl rest small." The woman hissed, "So Namigo do everything?" "She is trying. She is the eldest, that is her responsibility." Papa Emeka looked at Chica with pity. "My daughter, come and eat bread before you continue." But before Chica could move closer, her mother interrupted sharply. "She never washed plates." Papa Emeka became annoyed. "Can this girl breathe first?" The woman ignored him completely. Chica quietly carried the dirty plates and went behind the kitchen to wash them. This was her life every single day. No rest, no appreciation, no love from the person who was supposed to protect her most. After preparing the twins for school, Chica finally rushed to bathe. But immediately she tied her wrapper, her mother dropped a heavy bundle of aqua fabrics before her. "Carry this one." Chica looked tired already. "Mama, tailoring shop opens early today, and so, if I go late, Madam will insult me again." Her mother folded her arms. "So you think tailoring is more important than helping this family?" Chica remained silent. "Carry the bag." She obeyed immediately. Under the hot morning sun, mother and daughter moved from compound to compound selling fabrics. "Original lace, fine Ankara, cheap price," her mother shouted proudly. Chica followed behind, carrying extra loads. Some women bought from them, some insulted them, some priced the fabrics and chased them away. They continued trekking from one street to another. Hours later, Chica finally arrived at her tailoring apprenticeship, completely exhausted. Her madam frowned immediately. "Why are you late again?" "Sorry, Auntie." "Always sorry. Customers are waiting." Chica quickly sat behind the sewing machine and began working. Despite her stress, her hands moved skillfully. She was naturally talented. Even older apprentices secretly admired her sewing. One girl whispered to another, "This Chica sabi work If life favor she go far." But Chica herself did not believe life would ever favor her. That evening after work, she returned home tired and hungry. The delicious smell of egusi soup filled the compound. Her stomach growled instantly. But when she entered the kitchen, she saw only empty pots. "Kamsi?" she asked softly. "Food done finish?" Kamsi shrugged carelessly. "Yes," Bobo laughed. "You too slow." Chica forced a smile. "It's okay." She drank water and quietly entered her room. Few minutes later, Papa Emeka came in holding a small plate of gari and soup. "I kept this for you." Chica's eyes became watery. "Thank you, Papa." He sat beside her. "My daughter, forgive your mother." Chica looked down silently. "She doesn't hate you," he continued weakly. But Chica finally spoke. "She does, Papa." The old man sighed deeply, because even he knew the truth. One rainy evening, Chica sat outside, practicing sewing patterns inside an old notebook she found near the market. Fashion designing was her secret dream. Not just sewing ordinary clothes. She wanted to create designs people would admire all over Nigeria someday. As she sketched quietly, Kamsi walked past and laughed loudly. "See, artist?" Bobo joined mockingly. "Fashion designer way never finished secondary school." The twins burst into laughter. Chica closed the notebook quietly. Their mother overheard and added carelessly, "At least Una go school pass 'em." Those words pierced Chica deeply, because education was the wound she hid the most. She had dropped out during her final year of secondary school because her parents could not afford WAEC and NECO fees. Since then, every dream she had seemed to disappear slowly. But secretly, she still hoped. One night during dinner, Papa Emeka cleared his throat seriously. "I have decided something." Everyone looked at him. "I will call my elder brother in Enugu. Maybe he can help us pay Chica's WAEC fees." Their mother nodded slowly. "It is not bad." But then the woman continued, "However, the twins' school fees should come first." Papa Emeka frowned. "What are you saying?" "She already knows enough." Chica's heart dropped immediately. "Woman, she can read and write already," the mother continued shamelessly. "The younger ones are more important." Outside, thunder roared loudly. Inside, Chica felt her heart breaking quietly. Papa Emeka looked disappointed. "She is your daughter too," the woman hissed. "Will certificate feed us?" Unknown to them, Chica stood outside the door listening to every word. Tears rolled slowly down her cheeks. That night, while everyone slept peacefully, Chica sat outside staring at the moon. For the first time in her life, she felt truly unwanted. The next morning, after overhearing her parents' conversation, Chica woke up with swollen eyes. But as usual, nobody noticed. Or perhaps, nobody cared enough to notice. She still swept the compound, still fetched water, still prepared breakfast for the twins. As she bent near the firewood kitchen blowing smoke from the charcoal stove, Kamsi entered dramatically, rubbing her eyes. "Chica, I beg hurry up, oh. I don't want to miss assembly because of your village speed." Chica looked at her quietly. "Your uniform is already ironed." Kamsi smiled proudly. As he supposed be, Bobo walked in scratching his head. "Sister, where my socks?" "You kept them under your pillow yesterday." Bobo checked and found them immediately. "Omo, you get monitoring spirit." For the first time that morning, Chica laughed softly. Even Papa Emeka smiled. But their mother quickly scattered the little happiness. "Una de laugh? Chica, have you washed the bathroom?" "No, mama." "So wet'n you stand there de do like statue?" "I was making breakfast." Excuse upon excuse. If excuses were money, this family for Don Die Mansion. Bobo burst into laughter immediately. "Mama savage." Even Kamsi laughed loudly. Only Papa Emeka looked uncomfortable. Later that afternoon, Chica followed her mother again to sell aqua around the village. The sun was merciless. Sweat covered Chica's neck and face. Her mother, meanwhile, kept shouting aggressively, "Buy original material, no fake." One old woman stopped them. "How much this lace?" 25,000. The old woman almost fainted. "Jesu, does it cook soup too?" Chica nearly laughed. Her mother frowned. "Mama, if you no get money, leave rich people things." The old woman adjusted her wrapper angrily. "Now because of this your sharp mouth nobody dey marry you." Chica quickly turned away, trying not to laugh. Her mother hissed loudly as they continued walking. As they entered another compound, they met a young man washing his car shirtless. The moment he saw Chica, he dropped the sponge dramatically. "Ha! Who be this fine girl?" Chica immediately became uncomfortable. Her mother smiled shamelessly. "She is my daughter." The young man walked closer. "No wonder, beauty runs in the family." Chica shifted backward. "Mama, let's go." But the man blocked her playfully. My wife dey run from me?" He touched her arm lightly. Chica frowned instantly. "Please don't touch me." Instead of helping her, her mother laughed loudly. "You don't catch rich customer today, oh?" The young man grinned. "My name na Ebonyi. I fit buy all your materials if she agrees to marry me." Chica looked irritated. "I'm not interested." The man placed hand on his chest dramatically. "E pain me." Her mother slapped Chica lightly on the shoulder. "Why you dey disgrace me? Smile small." "Mama," Ebonyi winked. "No worry, women pretend first." Then he intentionally brushed her waist while collecting one lace material. Chica stepped back angrily. At that moment, she felt abandoned. Not by strangers, but by her own mother. On their way home, Chica finally exploded. "Mama, why did you allow him behave like that?" Her mother balanced the fabrics on her head carelessly. "Behave like wetin? He was touching me. So? Your body no go peel." Chica stopped walking. "Mama," the woman faced her. "Listen to me carefully. Poverty is not romantic. If rich man likes you, use your sense. Mama, I want respect. Respect no day cook soup." Chica stared at her mother in disbelief. The woman continued boldly. "If you marry rich man now, maybe I go finally rest." "So that's all I am to you?" Her mother shrugged. "Everybody must contribute to family." Chica's eyes became watery. "But I am already contributing." The woman laughed sarcastically. "With this your tailoring apprentice money? A beg shift." That night, Chica cried quietly again. Months passed. Chica continued learning tailoring seriously. Among all the apprentices, she was the most talented. One afternoon, her madam showed a complicated style from Lagos magazine. "Who can sew this?" Everybody became silent. One apprentice whispered, "Auntie, this one hardu." Another added dramatically, "Now only witches fit sewam." But Chica quietly carried the material. "I want to try." The girls laughed immediately. "See confidence. Village girl wants sew Lagos style." 2 hours later, Chica finished the outfit. Everybody became speechless. Even her madam widened her eyes. "Chica, you made this?" "Yes, auntie." The woman touched the dress repeatedly in disbelief. "Jesus Christ of Abba, this is perfect." One apprentice hissed quietly, "This girl no normal." From that day, customers started requesting specifically for Chica. Her confidence slowly began growing again. One evening after work, Chica sat under a mango tree resting when she heard footsteps approaching. She looked up. A tall, handsome young man stood before her smiling. It was Obinna. He had recently returned to the village from Lagos before planning to travel abroad. "You are Chica, right?" She nodded slowly. "Yes. I have been looking for chance to talk to you." Chica looked surprised. "To me?" Obinna laughed softly. "Yes now. Or another Chica day here?" She smiled shyly. It had been a long time since anyone spoke to her gently. "I know you from the tailoring shop," Obinna continued. "You work too hard." Chica looked away. "Life no easy," Obinna nodded. "But you still smile." For some reason, that simple statement touched her deeply. Most people only noticed what she lacked, but this man noticed her strength. Days later, Obinna began visiting her regularly. Sometimes he bought roasted corn for her after work. Sometimes he walked her home. The village women quickly started gossiping. One woman whispered to another, "That boy likes Chica seriously." The second woman nodded. "As he supposed be, the girls suffer too much." Even Bobo teased her one evening. Sister Chica, love done enter." Kamsi joined immediately. Soon she go dey press phone all night, saying "Good night, baby." Chica chased them playfully. Crazy children. For once the house felt alive with laughter. Even their father looked happier. Only their mother remained strangely observant. One evening, Obinna finally spoke seriously. "I want to marry you." Chica froze completely. He held her hands gently. "I'm traveling abroad soon. I want to hustle, make money, then come back for you." Tears gathered in Chica's eyes immediately. Nobody had ever chosen her before. Nobody had ever made her feel valuable. "You deserve better life," Obinna whispered. Chica's voice shook. "You really mean this?" "Yes." Then he smiled playfully. "And when I become rich, you go sew clothes for senators and celebrities." Chica laughed through tears. "And if your money no come?" Obinna placed hand on his chest dramatically. "Then I will become village mechanic with international accent." Chica laughed loudly for the first time in many years. At that moment, she truly believed happiness had finally found her. The news of Chica and Obinna's relationship spread through the village quickly. Some people were happy for her. Others were surprised any man would choose the quiet tailoring girl who always carried family problems on her head like a basket of tomatoes. But Chica herself did not care what anybody thought. For the first time in years, she felt seen. She felt loved. And every evening after work, Obinna always found a way to make her smile. One Saturday evening, they sat under the old mango tree near the stream while children played football nearby. Obinna handed roasted groundnuts to her. "Careful, O," he said dramatically. "These groundnuts are imported." Chica laughed. "Imported from where?" "From international market beside Mama Nkechi's shop." She shook her head smiling. "You are very silly. That's why you like me." Chica looked away shyly. Deep inside, she feared happiness, because life had taught her that every good thing eventually disappeared. Obinna noticed the sadness in her eyes. "What are you thinking?" She hesitated. "I'm afraid." "Of what?" "That maybe one day you will change your mind." Obinna became serious immediately. "Never. You don't know my family." "I know enough. My mother doesn't even want me happy." Obinna sighed softly. "I noticed." Chica looked surprised. "You did?" "How can I not notice? Every time I visit your house, she talks to Kamsi like queen and talks to you like housemaid." Chica forced a weak smile. "That's how it has always been." Obinna shook his head. "One day, all this suffering will end." A week later, Obinna visited Chica's family officially. He wore clean white senator clothes and carried drinks and cola nuts respectfully. The entire compound suddenly became lively. Even neighbors gathered nearby pretending not to listen. Their mother quickly adjusted her wrapper and sat proudly like village queen. Papa Emeka welcomed him warmly. "You are welcome, my son." "Thank you, sir." Obinna spoke respectfully. "I came because I love your daughter, Chica, and I want to marry her." Chica's heart pounded heavily. Papa Emeka smiled softly, but before he could speak, their mother cleared her throat loudly. "No." The whole compound became silent instantly. Even the goat nearby stopped chewing leaves. Obinna blinked in confusion. "Mama? She cannot marry now." "Why?" Papa Emeka asked immediately. The woman folded her arms. "She is still helping this family." Obinna nodded respectfully. "I understand. I promise I will still support her." The woman shook her head stubbornly. "No." Chica stared at her mother in disbelief. "Mama, you are not ready for marriage." Obinna looked confused. "She is already 21. "And so?" The woman leaned forward dramatically. "Until she turns 25, no marriage." "Mama," Chica cried softly, but the woman ignored her completely. Papa Emeka became angry. "Woman, what kind of nonsense is this? Will you feed this family alone?" The atmosphere became tense. To break the awkward silence, Bobo whispered loudly to Kamsi, "This meeting done turn wrestling match." Kamsi elbowed him immediately. "Shut up." But even Obinna almost laughed. Their mother continued seriously, "She is the only responsible one in this house. If she leaves now, who will help us?" Chica felt tears gathering already. So that was it. Her mother did not see her as daughter, only as worker. Obinna looked directly at the woman. "Mama, I truly love Chica." The woman replied coldly, "Love does not pay bills." After the meeting, Chica sat behind the house crying quietly. Obinna found her there. "I'm sorry," he said softly. Chica wiped her tears quickly. "You didn't do anything wrong. She can't stop us forever, but she will make life difficult." Obinna sat beside her. "Then let us wait." Chica looked at him sadly. "You would really wait for me?" "I can wait forever." She smiled weakly. You are talking like Nigerian film actor. Obinna placed hand on chest dramatically. My love is produced by Africa magic. Despite her tears, Chica burst into laughter. That laughter healed something inside her. Days later, Obinna prepared to travel abroad. Before leaving, he secretly called Chica behind the tailoring shop. I have something for you. He brought out an envelope and handed it to her. Chica opened it slowly. Her eyes widened instantly. 200,000 naira? Yes. Obinna, this is too much. Use it, buy sewing machine. Tears filled her eyes immediately. Nobody had ever invested in her dream before. You believe in me this much? I believe in your talent. Chica held the envelope tightly like treasure. But unfortunately, their mother appeared suddenly from nowhere like village police. What is that? Chica quickly hid the envelope. Nothing, Mama. The woman snatched it immediately. When she saw the money, her eyes nearly jumped out. Jesus! Mama, give it back, Chica pleaded. But the woman already tucked it inside her blouse. I will keep it safe. Obinna frowned slightly. Mama, the money is for Chica's sewing machine. The woman smiled fake smile. And who said she won't get it? Even Bobo whispered to Kamsi. That money don't disappear. Kamsi nodded seriously. May its soul rest in peace. The twins nearly laughed, but Chica felt heartbroken. That night she confronted her mother. Mama, please, that money belongs to me. The woman hissed loudly. So now you are challenging me because of man? It was for my future. Our family is your future. Mama, I have sacrificed enough. The woman pointed aggressively at her. Don't ever raise your voice at me again. Papa Emeka tried calming things down. Woman, return at least part of the money. Impossible. Chica stared at her mother with pain and disappointment. At that moment, she realized something painful. Her mother would never willingly allow her become successful. Never. 2 days later, Obinna left for abroad. The entire village escorted him to the bus park. Women prayed loudly for journey mercies. Men advised him to remember home. Bobo whispered to another boy, if Obinna forgets village girls abroad, Chica go wound. Kamsi laughed quietly, but Chica remained silent. As Obinna entered the bus, he called her aside. 5 years, he whispered softly. Wait for me. Tears rolled down her cheeks. I will wait. He touched her face gently, and when I return, nobody will stop our marriage. Chica nodded emotionally. I believe you. Obinna smiled. Take care of yourself. And you too. The bus engine started loudly. As it drove away slowly, Chica kept waving until the vehicle disappeared completely from sight. Then silence fell. Her mother immediately broke the emotional moment. Chica. She turned slowly. Carry this bag. Inside the bag were leftover drinks and food from the farewell gathering. Even in heartbreak, work was waiting for her. As they walked home, Chica looked once more at the dusty road Obinna's bus had taken. She placed hand on her chest quietly and prayed his promise would not become another pain in her life. After Obinna left for abroad, life became even harder for Chica. The little joy his presence brought into her life disappeared completely, leaving her with nothing but responsibilities and endless stress. Every morning before sunrise, she woke up first. Every night, she slept last. Sometimes, even the moon looked tired for her. Yet her mother behaved as if Chica's suffering was normal. One cold morning, Chica was sweeping the compound when her mother shouted from inside. Chica, did you sew gari? Yes, Mama. Did you boil water? Yes, Mama. Did you wash Bobo's uniform? Yes, Mama. Did you? Mama, Bobo interrupted lazily from inside the room. If you continue like this, one day Chica go disappear. Kamsi laughed loudly. Maybe na spirit day help her work. Even Chica smiled faintly while sweeping. But their mother remained serious. If she disappears, all of us go suffer. That statement hit Chica deeply again. Not we will miss her, not she is important, only what she provided mattered. At the tailoring shop, however, things were different. That was the only place Chica felt respected. Customers admired her creativity and neat finishing. Her madam trusted her more than every other apprentice. One afternoon, A wealthy woman from Abakaliki entered the shop angrily carrying one badly sewn dress. "Who spoiled this cloth?" All the apprentices pointed at one nervous girl immediately. The woman shouted dramatically, "Look at this sleeve! One hand long like generator pipe." Everybody struggled not to laugh. Her madam quickly apologized. "Sorry, madam, we will fix it." The woman crossed her arms. "Not only Chica hand I trust in this shop." Chica stepped forward politely. "I will correct it for you." The woman looked at her carefully. "You get talent, my daughter. Don't waste it in this village." Those words stayed in Chica's mind all day. Months passed, then years. Chica became more beautiful with age. Her caramel skin glowed naturally. Her quiet confidence attracted attention everywhere she went. But she barely noticed men anymore. Her focus was survival. She paid Bobo's school fees, paid Kamsi's lesson fees, bought food for the house, even contributed to hospital bills when their father became sick occasionally. Yet appreciation never came. One evening during dinner, Kamsi pushed her plate away dramatically. "I'm tired of village life." Their mother nodded immediately. "My daughter deserves soft life." Bobo laughed. "Mama talk 'em like Kamsi be senator wife already." Kamsi tossed her hair proudly. "I cannot marry poor man Shah." Their mother pointed at Chica immediately. "You hear?" Chica continued eating silently. "You should learn from your sister," the woman added. Bobo nearly choked laughing. "Learn wetin? How to avoid suffering." Kamsi threw small meat at him. "Idiot." For a moment everybody laughed except Chica, because deep down she knew her mother truly preferred Kamsi. One afternoon at the shop, her madam called her privately. "Chica." "Yes, auntie." The woman smiled warmly. "My husband got better job opportunity in China." Chica's eyes widened. "China?" "Yes, we are relocating next month." Chica's heart dropped instantly. "So, the shop?" Her madam held her hands. "I am giving it to you." Chica froze completely. "Auntie, what? You heard me." "No. This shop?" "Yes." Chica nearly burst into tears immediately. The woman continued, "You have suffered enough. You deserve something good. Auntie, you are hardworking and gifted. I believe one day your designs will travel beyond Nigeria." Chica could not speak anymore. Tears rolled down her cheeks uncontrollably. Her madam hugged her gently. "Don't cry. These are good tears," Chica whispered emotionally. That night she could barely sleep. For the first time in years, something beautiful had happened to her. The tailoring shop gradually became successful under Chica. Young girls from neighboring villages came for apprenticeship. Customers increased daily. People even traveled from nearby towns just to sew with her. One customer admired her work loudly. "This finishing clean past my marriage." Everybody laughed. Another woman said dramatically, "If Chica sew for you, even your enemies go ask for her number." Slowly, money started entering. Small money, but honest money. However, peace still refused to enter her family house. Their mother kept demanding more and more. "Chica, we need rice." "Chica, school fees remain." "Chica, kerosene finish." Sometimes Chica wondered if she was daughter or unpaid husband. One evening she returned home extremely tired. Immediately she entered, their mother attacked. "You are just coming? I closed late. And food no day." Chica stared in disbelief. "Mama, I'm tired." "So? I haven't even sat down." The woman folded her arms. "Did hunger sit down?" Bobo whispered quietly to Kamsi. "Mama no de miss." Kamsi nearly laughed into her food. Chica dropped her bag slowly. Without arguing, she entered the kitchen. Papa Emeka watched silently with pain in his eyes. Later that night, he sat beside Chica outside. "My daughter." "Yes, Papa?" "I'm sorry." "For what?" "For failing you." Chica looked at him immediately. "You never failed me, but I allowed too much." Chica held his weak hands gently. "You are the only reason I still feel loved in this house." The old man's eyes became watery instantly. 5 years passed finally. Chica was now 26 years old, still unmarried, still hardworking, still carrying everybody's problems. One sunny afternoon while sewing wedding dresses at her shop, one apprentice rushed inside excitedly. "Auntie Chica, what happened? Obinna don't come back from abroad." The needle nearly pierced Chica's finger. Her heartbeat increased immediately. After 5 long years, he finally returned. Memories flooded her mind instantly. The promises, the dreams, the goodbye at the bus park, the tears. Her hands began shaking slightly. One apprentice smiled knowingly. "Auntie, your husband don't arrive, oh." Everybody laughed playfully. But Chica's heart was too emotional to laugh. She quietly adjusted her scarf and looked outside the shop. For 5 years she had waited faithfully, rejected other men, endured mockery, believed in his promises. Now finally, maybe her suffering was about to end. Little did she know, her greatest heartbreak had already entered the village. The entire village buzzed with excitement after Obinna returned from abroad. Women gathered in front of compounds, discussing his new wealth. They said he came back with dollars. "I heard he has 2 businesses in Lagos." One person even said he owns a car that opens itself. Another woman hissed dramatically, "Car way they open itself? Not transformer be that?" Everybody burst into laughter. Meanwhile, inside her tailoring shop, Chica struggled to focus. Her apprentices kept teasing her non-stop. "Auntie Chica, your abroad husband is back, ooh. One of us will soon attend international wedding." Another apprentice sighed dramatically. "Please don't forget us when you start speaking through nose." Even Chica laughed shyly, but deep down, her heart trembled with nervous excitement. After 5 years, would Obinna still feel the same way? Would he still choose her? That evening, Chica closed late because of customers. Unknown to her, destiny had already entered her family compound before she did. When Obinna arrived earlier that afternoon, it was Kamsi who welcomed him. She stepped out wearing tiny shorts and chewing gum lazily. The moment she saw the expensive SUV parked outside, her eyes widened. Jesus! Obinna stepped out wearing dark sunglasses and expensive wristwatch. Kamsi nearly stopped breathing. This was not the village boy who left 5 years ago. This man looked rich. "Welcome back," she said softly while adjusting her hair. Obinna removed his sunglasses slowly. "Kamsi?" She smiled proudly. "You're shocked, Abi?" Obinna laughed lightly. "You changed, and you became fine." The two of them stared at each other longer than necessary. Inside the house, their mother peeped through the curtain immediately. Her eyes narrowed sharply. Something dangerous had just started. Their mother rushed outside dramatically. "My son!" Obinna greeted respectfully. "Mama, good afternoon." "You are welcome. Abroad fits you, ooh." Even Bobo came outside excitedly. "Omo, this Jeep not your own?" Obinna smiled. "Yes." Bobo touched the car carefully like a sacred object. "If I scratch this thing accidentally, how many years imprisonment?" Everybody laughed. Only Kamsi remained staring at Obinna differently, very differently. When Chica finally returned home that evening, she heard laughter from inside. Her heart jumped. She quickly adjusted her scarf and entered. The moment she saw Obinna sitting in their parlor, tears gathered instantly in her eyes. "Obinna!" He stood up smiling warmly. "Chica!" For a moment, nothing else mattered. Not the poverty, not the suffering, not even the years apart. They simply stared at each other emotionally. Then Kamsi suddenly interrupted loudly. "So after 5 years, not only Chica and Obinna una no?" Everybody laughed awkwardly. Chica smiled shyly. Their mother quickly brought food for Obinna personally. "My son, eat first." Her mother had never served her that way before. Never. Throughout the evening, Kamsi remained unusually close to Obinna, laughing loudly at every joke, touching his arm playfully, even offering him drinks repeatedly. At one point, Bobo whispered quietly to Chica, "Kamsi don't they behave like hostess of the year?" Chica frowned slightly, but she ignored the uncomfortable feeling in her chest. Surely Kamsi would never betray her. Surely. Days passed. Obinna continued visiting regularly, but slowly, things began changing. Whenever Chica was busy at her shop, Obinna somehow always visited the house. And somehow, Kamsi was always available. One afternoon, Kamsi entered the compound smiling from ear to ear, carrying shopping bags. Their mother rushed to her immediately. "Who bought all these?" Kamsi smiled proudly. "My friend." Bobo peeped inside one bag and screamed dramatically. "Original iPhone?" Their mother nearly fainted. "Jesus of Nazareth!" Chica, who had just returned from work sweating heavily, stopped in confusion. "Kamsi, where did you get all these?" Kamsi avoided eye contact. "I told you, my friend." Chica frowned. "What kind of friend buys iPhone and designer bags?" Her mother quickly interrupted. "Must she explain everything to you?" "Mama, I'm only asking." The woman hissed loudly. "You are always behaving like village monitor." Bobo carried the iPhone carefully. "This phone expensive pass our roof." Kamsi snatched it proudly. "Be careful." Chica looked at her sister seriously. "Kamsi, tell me the truth." Kamsi folded her arms. "You're acting jealous." "Jealous?" "Yes, because nobody buys you gifts." The statement shocked Chica deeply. Their mother even added mockingly, "Shabi Obinna came back for you? Tell him buy your own." Everybody laughed except Chica. A strange fear slowly entered her heart. That night, Chica sat outside alone, unable to sleep. Something felt wrong. Very wrong. Obinna had become strangely distant recently. Sometimes he ignored her calls. Sometimes he canceled plans suddenly. And now Kamsi had expensive gifts from mysterious friend. Her chest tightened painfully. But still, she refused to suspect her own sister. Meanwhile, secretly behind the village primary school field, Obinna and Kamsi met almost every evening. Their relationship had become intense, dangerously intense. One evening, Obinna handed her another expensive perfume. Kamsi smiled excitedly. "You spoil me too much. You deserve it." She moved closer. "So, when will you tell Chica?" Obinna sighed heavily. "Soon." Kamsi rolled her eyes. "You said that last week. She will be hurt. And what about me?" Obinna looked guilty. "I love you." "Then prove it." At that exact moment their mother suddenly appeared from nowhere. The two of them nearly jumped in fear. "Jesus!" Kamsi shouted. "Mama, you almost killed me." Their mother laughed shamelessly. "So, Oena thinks I know no?" Obinna looked uncomfortable. "Mama," the woman sat down happily. "My son, follow your heart." Kamsi smiled immediately. "You hear that?" Their mother continued boldly. "Chica is too serious. Kamsi matches your level better." Those words would have destroyed Chica completely if she had heard them. Obinna remained silent, and silence itself became betrayal. 2 weeks later, preparations secretly began for traditional introduction. Kamsi could no longer hide her excitement. She danced around the compound constantly. Even Bobo became suspicious. "One thing they smell for this house." One afternoon he whispered to Chica, "I think Kamsi get boyfriend." Chica smiled weakly. "That's good. But the guy get money. That's also good." Bobo narrowed his eyes jokingly. "If not sugar daddy, I want monthly allowance." Chica laughed softly. Little did she know, the joke was dangerously close to truth. Then came the day everything exploded. That afternoon, Chica returned home carrying sewing materials. Immediately she entered the compound. She froze. Plastic chairs filled the compound. Women cooked outside. Men sat drinking malt. Traditional music played loudly. "What's happening?" she asked in confusion. Before anyone answered, she saw him. Obinna, dressed richly, standing beside Kamsi. Her entire body went cold instantly. The tray of drinks in Kamsi's hands trembled slightly as villagers cheered happily. Then realization hit Chica like thunder. "No," her voice cracked. "No, this cannot be happening." Everybody became silent. Obinna looked away guiltily. Kamsi avoided eye contact completely. She stared at them in disbelief. "Mama," her mother stood proudly. "It is God's will." The words nearly destroyed her completely. Chica stepped backwards slowly. "You're joking." Nobody answered. Her breathing became heavier. I waited 5 years. Tears rolled freely down her cheeks now. Papa Emeka sat quietly in one corner, looking weak and ashamed. He could not even look his daughter in the eyes. Chika turned to Obinna painfully. "Tell me this is not true." Obinna remained silent. That silence broke her heart more than words ever could. The compound was alive with celebration, but for Chika, everything felt like a funeral. Drums were beating, women were singing, men were clapping, yet her world had gone completely silent. She stood there frozen, her sewing bag slipping slowly from her fingers and landing on the ground with a dull sound. No one rushed to pick it up. No one cared. Her eyes moved from Obinna to Kamsi to her mother. Then she whispered again, voice shaking, "No, this is a lie." Kamsi forced a small smile, avoiding her sister's gaze. Obinna looked down, like a man carrying a heavy secret. Their mother, however, stepped forward proudly, like a chief announcer. "It is not a lie. Today we are preparing introduction." Chika blinked slowly. "Introduction? For who?" Her mother pointed boldly. "For Kamsi and Obinna." Silence fell instantly. Even the drummers stopped. A chicken somewhere nearby flapped its wings as if it also understood betrayal. Chika laughed suddenly, a short, broken laugh. "Ah, very funny joke." Nobody laughed with her. Her smile disappeared immediately. "You mean Obinna?" Obinna finally raised his eyes. "Chika," she stepped back sharply. "Don't say my name." Kamsi quickly touched Obinna's arm. "Baby, just explain to her." That word, baby, hit Chika like a slap. Her eyes widened. "Baby?" Even Bobo, standing near the food pot, dropped the spoon he was holding. "Ha! Village is finished," he whispered. Chika turned slowly to her mother. Her voice became cold. "So this is why you told me to wait?" Her mother folded her arms confidently. "You are too emotional. Sit down." "Sit down?" "Yes. Don't disgrace yourself in front of guests." Chika laughed again, this time louder. "Guests? Mama, I am the main problem here." Kamsi hissed quietly. "Chika, stop shouting." Chika turned sharply. "You shut up." The entire compound gasped. Their mother pointed at her immediately. "How dare you raise your voice at your sister?" Chika's eyes filled with tears instantly. "My sister? My sister stole my fiancé." Obinna flinched. "I didn't steal." Chika cut him off immediately. "You didn't steal? Then what is this?" She pointed at Kamsi. "What is this arrangement? Comedy show?" One of the elders tried to calm things. "My daughter, calm down." Chika turned on him. "Uncle, please sit down. This one is not your village meeting." Even some villagers almost laughed, but quickly hid it. Kamsi suddenly stepped forward. Her voice was softer, but sharp. "Chika, Obinna chose me." That sentence landed like poison. Chika froze. "Chose you?" Kamsi nodded. "He loves me." Chika stared at Obinna. Her eyes begged him. "Tell me she is lying." Obinna swallowed hard. The silence stretched painfully. Finally he spoke. "I'm sorry." That was all. Just 2 words, but they destroyed everything inside Chika. She shook her head slowly. "No, no, no." Her knees almost gave way. She grabbed a chair beside her to steady herself. "You told me to wait." Obinna stepped forward slightly. "I didn't plan." Chika shouted suddenly. "So what did you do for 5 years?" Silence again. Even Kamsi avoided looking at her now. Chika's voice cracked. "I stopped men because of you. I worked for my family because of you. I suffered because of you." She laughed bitterly through tears. "And now, you are standing in my father's compound to marry my sister?" Obinna looked down. "I'm sorry." Chika nodded slowly. "That's your favorite sentence now." Their mother suddenly interrupted. "Enough." Everyone turned to her. "This matter is settled. Kamsi is the chosen one." Chika stared at her mother in disbelief. "Chosen by who?" The woman replied calmly. "By destiny." Chika laughed again, louder this time. "Ah, Destiny again. She wiped her tears aggressively. So Destiny told you to destroy your first daughter? Her mother frowned. Don't talk nonsense. Chica stepped closer, voice trembling. Mama, tell me the truth. Did you ever love me? Silence. Even the wind seemed to pause. Her mother avoided her eyes. That silence answered everything. Chica nodded slowly, like something inside her had finally accepted defeat. Okay. She turned to Obinna one last time. I waited 5 years. Obinna looked pained. I know. You knew? Yes. Chica smiled sadly, and still chose her. Another silence. That silence confirmed it again. Chica suddenly wiped her face and straightened her back. Something in her changed. The broken girl was still there, but something stronger was forming underneath the pain. She looked at Kamsi. You win. Kamsi blinked. What? Chica smiled faintly. You can have him. Obinna looked shocked. Chica, she raised her hand. No, don't say anything again. Her voice became calm now. Too calm. Dangerously calm. You have finished talking. She turned to her mother. And you, congratulations. You finally got what you wanted. Her mother frowned. What do you mean? Chica laughed softly. I mean I am free. That statement confused everyone. She bent down slowly, picked her sewing bag, and wiped the dust off it. Then she looked around the compound one last time. At the family that never protected her, at the man who never chose her, at the sister who smiled at her pain, at the mother who never saw her worth. Chica nodded slowly. Continue your celebration. Then she turned and walked away. Bobo called after her quietly. Sister. But she didn't stop. Not once. That night, Chica did not sleep in the house. For the first time in her life, she slept inside her tailoring shop, on a wooden chair, with tears drying on her face. Outside, rain began to fall heavily, as if even the sky understood betrayal. Inside the dark shop, Chica whispered to herself. 5 years, wasted. Then after a long silence, she added softly, but I will not waste the rest of my life. And for the first time, her heartbreak began turning into something else. After Obinna's shocking betrayal, Chica's heart is shattered beyond repair. But while Kamsi enjoys her flashy marriage and their mother celebrates like she won a trophy, nobody knows that life is quietly preparing a painful storm for the entire family. Will Chica survive the humiliation and rejection? What happens when the same family that mocked her suddenly needs her help again? Will Obinna and Kamsi's marriage truly last? And how will a struggling village tailor from Ebonyi State rise to become the woman that powerful people in Lagos cannot ignore? In the remaining part of the story, expect heartbreak, shocking family drama, emotional revenge, funny village moments, painful regrets, unexpected tragedy, and a life-changing encounter with a billionaire who sees the value nobody saw in Chica. The story is about to become even more emotional and powerful. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next part of Chica's unforgettable journey.